thing I want to tell you about is a very special offer that I do only during the full body fix. Only during the full body fix. I have semi-private consultations with you wonderful humans, and it's specifically for those individuals who basically what we do in the Fitness Doctor is everything that you're learning about in the session today. And we help put all of these pieces together. We basically fix your whole body from toe to head and help you restructure, help you feel 20 years younger, help you revitalize your body, your energy, your strength, your bone density, everything you could imagine that's important for fitness over the age of 50. We do that with our Fitness Doctor team of elite experts. And to find out about that, individuals meet with me. And one of the big things I'm looking for is to make sure that you are a perfect fit to do that. Because of course, one way that we're known for being the world's leader in anti-aging fitness is because I bring the right people into our VIP family who truly match what we do to optimize your physical quality of life. So if you want to meet with me and you want to learn about that, you want to have an amazing consultation and connection where I get to learn what it is that you want to achieve personally and what do you see standing in the way, then I suggest that you go to the chat now and click on the chat button. And there's a link there, and that link says, this is the link to schedule a semi-private session with Robbie. We have very limited spots available, my wonderful full body fixers. And if you click on that blue link, there's a very short application process, and you can schedule yourself in for a semi-private consultation with me. There is an application process. We don't take everybody, but it is free. The semi-private session is free, but there is an application process. So I invite you to do that now and go to the chat and click that link. And go ahead down to the bottom of your Zoom toolbar, click chat, and then go to that link, click the blue link, and you can schedule yourself in for that. And there's many times, there's a few times available, and by the time we get to Wednesday, those begin to run out, and we no longer have those spots available. So with that being shared, let's get into Q&A. And how do you participate in Q&A? So of course, Q&A is questions and answers. And the way you participate is, again, bottom of the Zoom screen, bottom Zoom toolbar, as we call it. You go to reactions, click reactions. And then after you click reactions, a box will open. And on the bottom of that box, it says raise hand. When you click raise hand, then your digital hand will raise. And then I'll know to call on you. So that's how you participate in Q&A. And then I'll call on you in the order of which you raise your hand. And with that being shared, give me just a moment and we'll get started with Q&A. Okay, first up, we have Valentine. Hello, Valentine, welcome.
Hello. Hello from Ukraine. I have a very short question, which I wrote actually in chat. Do you think today's exercises will eventually help to sit in a lotus position? What would you say?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, are you having difficulties with that now?
No, yes. I cannot put myself into the two-leg one-on-one thing. So I would be interested to actually do exercises to eventually come to that.
So just to make sure we're talking about the same thing, you mean to cross over your legs and sit like this?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yes, absolutely. A large part of that is both external and internal hip rotation. So your external rotators back on your hips, those are what kind of part of what keeps you tight. You probably feel that when you try to get into that position. Mm-hmm. So yeah, doing your external rotation stretches is going to help mobilize the tissues on the inside of the thigh for that. But then also the mobility is needed on the outside of the hips as well. So those are your external rotators, and it's going to mobilize both. So that is a good position to do, actually. And you put your palms behind you like this here, so you get a good shoulder stretch, and you're going to learn why it's so important to open your chest. On Friday's session, we talk about shoulders. But yeah, absolutely. And then I highly suggest you do the stretches that we did today, and all of it together will help improve that for you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And by the way, it's very interesting. You're logging in with us from Ukraine. We probably all have a lot of questions for you, actually. So
Okay.
how's everything going there?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, good. Awesome. Well, lots of love to you, Valentine. Did you have
Because I know that Biden is also planning to do something very unpleasant for Americans with this digital dollar. So I pray for you as well.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So that you should not accept it.
Yeah.
So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
Both
Thank
sides.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Lots
Bye.
of love to you, Valentine. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hello, Ines. You're up next with us here. Hello.
Yes, hello. I question, all my life when people have, I've been to the doctor or something just regular and they say, stand with your feet straight forward. My feet don't splay outward a lot, but when I try to put my feet exactly straight forward, to me, it actually feels like they're crooked, especially my right side. It feels like I'm turning my foot inward when actually it's straight. So I know that's probably because the muscle on one side or the other is too tight.
Yes, it can also just simply be the way that your hips are aligned. So yeah, your acetabulum, which is the hip socket, and your femoral head plugging into that. So the actual femoral head can have slight curvatures on the bone rotating back, and the positioning of the hip joint itself. And then you combine that with the soft tissue connection as well. But with all that said, it is still very important for you to be, depending on what you're doing. Like if you're just sitting and your legs go out, it's not a big deal. It's a good idea when you're in a more passive position like that to let your feet come in. And the reason why is because it's very gentle, and you're going to be able to stretch the tissues to be able to allow for better internal rotation, which really we're trying to get to neutral. We're trying to get to alignment. But if you sit with if you're sitting and your legs are out in front of you, or you're lying with your legs out in front of you and you let your feet go in, it's going to start stretching those hips towards internal rotation, which will make it a little easier for you once you're walking or stair climbing or whatever you're doing in terms of a gait type of pattern. It's going to get better. So the interesting thing to know for you is, the bone formation may be assisting with that. And then you go through life, and then the tissues start going to that also. And it makes it even more so retroverted and turned out. Okay. So we do need to work towards that, because if we don't, even if if it's partly bone, what will happen?
I think it is partly bone, to be honest, when you mention that, because when you look at me, like my hips are not the same shape on each side. I mean, ever since I was young, it's like one side is like a gradual and the other side is like this. And I don't think they're even. Like when I've been to a chiropractor or something, they're not, it's not even across.
Yeah. So even more reason to work on it, to the degree of being in your neutral, just because it creates so much less shear stress on your knees, on your hips, on your back. So yeah, it's even more reason to address it to the best of your ability. And remember, with all things with biomechanical optimization, we're looking to go slowly in the direction of adaptation and get to neutral. We're not trying to force it there, and we're letting things comfortably come over time. You're going to have the best feel good result, best functionality when we approach fitness that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and you're very welcome, Ines. And yeah, that's the kind of thing that our team, for our VIPs, we help you optimize and figure out and analyze all of your hip mobility and thigh and lower back mobility. We analyze those things, and then we have a training system that will help you optimize your entire body, but also we personalize it where needed when you have limitations as you do. So I would highly suggest you sign up for or apply for its semi-private session. It could be a really good thing for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Lots of love to you. And hello to you, Julia. Welcome. One second. I'm waiting. We're just, you should have a link show up on your computer there. It'll say that host has asked you to unmute. There you go. There you go. You're live. Go ahead.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, after this session, the only thing I know I have my right hip is about a half an inch higher. And after the exercises, I have a little pain in the very middle of my hip.
Okay. Yeah. So first thing is, one thing that I always teach our VIPs, when you're there doing the exercise on your own and trying to apply what I'm teaching you, it's to your best judgment. So one thing I teach is always do exercise to your comfort. So the first thing that most individuals do is they get in and they think exercise is supposed to be stressful, which there is supposed to be some degree of stress. That's how we get adaptation. But the first thing is should be comfortable and connect with your body. So by the time, if you feel some uncomfort and then you're pushing into that, which in your case, obviously you did. So we're breaking rule number one. And rule number one is I want you to stay very, very comfortable with your exercise. When you first start approaching any exercise, you find comfort, you connect with your body, and then you go into position. Don't try to match me or anything like this. So that's a very important part of our process and part of the way we keep everybody safe. So
thank you.
So yes, absolutely. So you could have some issues in your hip and you're feeling some friction and stuff in there, and your tissues aren't used to being stretched that position. So again, always comfort first. Always approach the exercise with comfort. I'm going to show you the right alignment, but your body, you need to allow it to go into the position the way that it's most comfortable for you. And the other thing to consider is just because your interpretation of what I'm showing might be a little different than what it actually is. So this is like another thing that we do in our VIP training system is we guide you each step in each position, and then we help you get from comfort to what we call biomechanical optimization, and then add performance and functionality, strength, endurance, energy to your functionality. So,
okay, thank you.
So I would encourage you to stay doing the exercises, but just remember, always stay in your comfort.
It's very, very little, very little.
Yeah.
But I know I have problem in my back with my coccyx.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it is not completely straight. So probably.
Yeah, this is partly.
That's it.
And when you have one hip higher than the other, oftentimes individuals think, oh, they might have a leg length, what they call leg length discrepancy, the difference in leg length. But oftentimes it's just one side of the pelvis lifted more because of the soft tissues, because of the alignment in the soft tissues, because certain tissues in the hip and pelvis are tighter. It's pulling the pelvis in a way that raises one side up more than the other. So I encourage you to look at the specifics of what we did in today's session and comparing your measurements and your range of motion from one side to the other. And your first thing you want to do is gain symmetry. So the first thing we want, it's better to have.
I need that.
Yeah, it's better to have two deficient sides and have them be even than it is to have one significantly mobile side and one deficient side. You're better symmetry. Symmetry within reason is always better. So you always want to approach it from that standpoint first, and then progress from there.
Honey, and how I do to go to the private section?
You go to the chat. So if you'd like to schedule for semi-private session, which is not part of the regular full body fix program, it's a special thing I do during this week. But if you would like to apply for that, you can go to the chat, and there's a link in the chat. And so do you know how to click on the chat button?
I don't know.
So on the Zoom screen on the bottom, you're going to see a chat button. And once you click on chat, it'll open and you'll see it says this is the link to schedule a semi-private session with Robbie. If you keep looking at the bottom of your Zoom toolbar, I'm certain you're going to find the button that says chat. I need to go on to Tracy now, but
Go, honey, go.
But yeah,
I
but
try
look,
to find it.
okay.
But
And you can always message Patricia if you're not able to find it. Like, you can always email Patricia at The Fitness Doctor and she can help you. Hello, Tracy. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. I just have a couple of questions. Well, I think 3 of them. So how do you know the number of repetitions to do? Is that just until it becomes, you're not able to do the form properly, or until it starts to become uncomfortable, or?
Yes, so it depends on which exercise you're speaking of, but you did say something really intelligent, which was until you're not able to keep the proper form. And that's exactly how you should do exercise that's strength or endurance based.
Yeah.
Is when you start to lose your mechanics, that's the point you should stop, not to the level of fatigue, but to the point you lose mechanics. Very good thing. But typically, like, a great place to start with most strength exercises around 15 reps, because it's heavy enough to get you some good strength and endurance results, but light enough to keep excess pressure off your body.
Okay.
With mobility exercise, it's good to start with about a 20 to 30 second hold. So you're focusing heavily, whatever the stretch may be. Like, if you're doing internal hip rotation, you're getting your foot out, you're getting a line, you're making sure you're not putting excessive pressure in your knee, putting a pillow under you, getting, all this position, and then apply the stretch and start massaging like 20, 30 seconds, and then back out of the stretch and do the other side. And once you get adapted, the goal is really to get upwards of like a minute to a minute and a half of holding active stretches like that. And if we take it a step further, I show you the things I can show you in an hour on knees and hips, some of the most important things, but there's a whole slew of like dynamic mobility, which is stretching with motion, and active static stretches, and many different ways to do. And each has their own protocol for how much you should do.
Yeah. Sounds good. I understand. Now, if I'm currently exercising, so I used to bodybuild and compete, and I herniated a back disc, and I'm doing some of this stuff here. Why? Based on some of the issues that I have. So I'm very, very grateful to you. Thank you. So I'm currently lifting weights. Should I stop doing that until I have these issues fixed and then go back to lifting weights again? Or
I wouldn't. It depends on what you're doing. Like, if you're becoming a VIP, for example, and the way we strength train, it's like, stop your other strength training until I can realign your body and really retrain your neuromuscular system. Just a quick side note on why, and then we'll go forward with what should you do. So the reason why is because when we do a rep, your neurological system's connecting with all the tissues to make that happen. And if you do the rep like wrong or misaligned, or like your pelvis is tweaked and you don't really feel it, because standard strength training is not going to enable you to feel those details as much. So you're reinforcing the dysfunction, and you're actually retraining that dysfunction in your neurological patterns. But when you take the time to really focus on alignment and positioning and kind of bring things lighter for a short period of time, then you're able to retrain the neurological patterns and then build up more performance into the functionality. And that's what's like, that's the secret sauce. So that's the reason why I would want you to, if you're going to be a VIP, back off on regular strength training, but then you could bring it back. You could bring it back in. And we do a ton of strength training in our VIP training system, but we build it up in a very intelligent, safe protocol, comfortable.
Sounds
protocol.
good.
Yeah.
2 more questions. Is that okay? Or do you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So I noticed on the page that has all of the little videos about the different exercises that are suggested, that there's different levels. So how do you know when to progress to the next level? Is that like when it becomes too easy, or is there a prescribed number of reps like we talked about, or?
Yeah. So you should get in, gain comfort, apply the exercise, have a good result. You feel good, then you can go to the next level, basically. Like, like my last question askers, like, felt a little hip pain. So like, okay, well, we got probably a lot of work to do to start getting in the right position, aligning the body and applying that stretch in which we felt some pain. And not until we're getting all positive effects would we want to change to level 2, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And last question. So when we were doing the ankle exercise yesterday, and we were doing the in version and the E version, or is that off? I don't even know, whatever, those two. I don't know if it was anyway.
Outside of the foot lifts up, E version, inside of the foot lifts in version. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I needed to see, because the angle that it was at on the video, I couldn't tell like what way the foot was really supposed to be going. So I was wondering if we could have like an end view, but I can tell now looking at your hand. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and those are on video. They get sent to you an email.
Yeah,
So
I got the videos, but yeah, I couldn't tell from the angle that the camera was on. So awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
And what you're welcome. And one more tip on the inversion, eversion, especially with having a strength training background.
Yeah.
As I show in the exercise checklist, it's actually with the band. In the full body fix, I do it without load, so everyone's able to do it, and they're know, it doesn't become, I don't have a band at home. So
I have bands.
So yeah, so doing it band resisted, starting light, that's going to get you even more results. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Lots of love to you, Tracy. Ellen, hello and welcome to you.
Hello.
Hi.
I haven't been able to follow these sessions before, but so I wonder if I could ask something about my shoulders.
Sure.
Because I have had an X-ray and showing that there's a little bit of arthritis in both in one shoulder and probably also in the other one, and also a bit inflammation also there, you know. So I had to stop playing badminton, and then yesterday I have been too busy with my screen and PC lately, so I haven't exercised enough, you know. Yeah, I exercised a little bit. But when I went on a bicycle ride yesterday, quite a long one, I also felt it in my shoulders. So I just wonder, is this something I can deal with and actually reverse?
Yes. So the extreme high majority of shoulder injuries, issues, pain, dysfunction, minus getting like hit by a car, okay, for example, like an impact injury that creates various unique type of injuries. Most individuals, their shoulder issue, as yourself, it wasn't because of impact, it's because of degeneration over time due to misalignments. But the number one part of that being misaligned is something called, they call it subacromial impingement. So, and subacromial impingement is basically your humeral head, so your arm bone connecting into the shoulder socket, right? It looks something like this. And this hand's representing your scapula. It's like a shelf above your humeral head that's into the socket that's also part of the scapula or shoulder blade. And when it raises up, so what you're going to find is like when you're in this position or you go overhead, you're going to feel, you know, especially around 90 and above, you're going to feel that friction. And what's happening is the humeral head is colliding into the bottom shelf of the scapula. This is the subacromial. This is the acromion, it's below the acromion. and there's rotator cuff tissues there. There's the long head of the bicep there. And those tissues get smashed. There's a bursa sac there that can get excessive friction. And also with the changes of alignment, it can start creating cartilage wear down, which is the arthritis breaking creation. So what we really need to do is align the shoulder. Now, of course, on Friday, we go into a great depth about all this and how, but in the most simple terms, there's tissues in your lat and also in the front side of your shoulder that get excessively tight, and also in the neck. And these tissues position the scapula in a way that causes this to happen easier. And that's from the mobility side. From the stability or strength or motor control side, what happens is one of the biggest things is this tissue here that attaches from here down your back. So it attaches in the top middle portion of your scapula. Its job is to pull the scapula down like this. So when you do that, you create this space so that when you raise your arm or you're on a bicycle, this lifts differently because that muscle has good engagement and good activation. So it maintains this space to not have impingement. And it's a matter of, okay, well, knowing what stretches to do and which area am I most restricted and which exercises to do to strength train and optimize the functionality and alignment of the shoulder. But that is what happens. And then there's other exercises that actually help center better the shoulder joint, or what we call the glenohumeral head. And so what happens is by optimizing your motor control, the joint fits better in a better aligned position, and there's less friction on the cartilage as well. So,
and this help the regeneration, or?
Yes. And then the inflammation will calm down, and because you have less impingement in the shoulder, you're going to not feel inflammation. And because the impingement goes down, the inflammation goes down, and then the breakdown of the joint structure starts to change, and it goes back to a more normal environment. Not necessarily are going to regain all of your cartilage, but the flare-ups that are being created will start to decrease significantly. And part of that is not doing stuff that's going to aggravate the area. So as you're optimizing your mechanics, you got to try to do things like, I don't want to encourage you not to ride a bike. You enjoy riding a bike. It's really good for your heart, your aerobic system. So I don't want to keep you away from exercise. But the bicycle is one position. This is really common. It's a really common position for those who have shoulder issues and ride a bike. They get some impingement during because it's like this, it get relaxed and the humeral head starts rising up. So the best thing I could encourage you to do is when you ride your bike, try to keep your upper back a little bit straighter and just gently, because it's not going to feel good either if you're trying to stay flexed the whole time. So gently bring your shoulders down and back when you ride a bike, and try to keep your upper back more straight. It's going, just gently. It's going to make a big difference for you.
Okay. That's great. And I think I got this when I was using a hatch in the garden, so I probably shouldn't do that. I figure out myself,
Yeah.
And that is a movement that I can't do, and probably and also the badminton movement, that's really hurting me. So I suppose I won't get back to that one, maybe.
Well, once you optimize your biomechanics, you will. Yeah, most people, they go in athletes, this is pro athletes, this is true too. They go into high performance levels of sport, or not high performance, just any level of performance. And they don't have optimal human mechanics yet. And so it causes excessive breakdown in the sport or in the activity. So it's not so much that the activity is bad per se, it's that the mechanical misalignments occur because this functionality hasn't first been created. So like that's what we do here in the Full Body Fix and in our VIP training system, is we optimize your body mechanics so that you can play badminton without injury, so that you can live your life without stiffness, without pain, without dysfunction.
That's fantastic. And I think maybe also lifting would be difficult. I mean, maybe I should stop lifting too heavy.
Oh, yeah. So in my mind, lifting heavy needs to be earned. Like most individuals have no business lifting heavy. They're not there yet. And so And I mean, like, there's pro athletes, there's people getting paid millions of dollars a year to use their body for a sport, and they have no business, honestly, lifting heavy. They don't really have a choice either, because they need to perform.
Yeah.
Even with compensations, their bodies learn to perform high level with compensations, but it doesn't mean their body's not getting broken down, because it is. They're performing, but they're breaking. It's like a race car that's super fast, it's highly functional, but eventually the transmission's going to go because it has a bunch of misalignments in it. That's
exactly. I suppose the thing is that the way you lift, in what type of position you lift, right?
exactly. Yeah, because there's all these specifics that the body needs to keep the joint safe and to not have pain and stiffness. And it's not just the joints. What happens also is your body knows, like, when you're misaligned and doing a load of any type of strength training movement, if you're doing that with misalignment, the body will want to guard because it feels misaligned. It feels unstabilized. Because it feels unstabilized, if I give you a heavy weight, I give this example all the time. I give you a heavy weight, you're going to hold it close to you because you feel unstable. That's the same thing that happens with strength training and stiffness, is your body feels unstable. And so afterward you get really stiff because you just shocked it with trauma of strength training in a misaligned position. So now those tissues are going to go short because it's going to become guarded. The other thing that happens is it's really important to have the right emotional state going into strength training. So that's the reason why I teach, it's called interoception. So first, interoception. So this is like feeling what your body's doing, connecting with your body. I think it was Gloria I talked to. She said she had a hip issue with one of the exercises. So you always want to find comfort and connection with your body first, like in anything, and then the mechanics. That mechanics are actually second, because you're not going to get mechanical alignment unless you have comfortable connection with your body first. Then you really focus on the mechanic. The performance piece is like way over here. So now we come into it with connecting with our body, having gratitude for our capabilities, and you feel that in an energy zone, right? And then you're having the optimal physical mechanics. So now you have the right mental, emotional, energy state, physical state, because all of those things, when you start adding performance, are going to get ingrained deeply into your neurological system. So then when you start adding strength training, now you're doing it in additional performance. You're doing increased intensity for what you developed in the first two stages. Most people with fitness, they don't even think about interoception. There's like, I'm not strong enough, so I'm going to push my body. And then mechanics like, yeah, along the way of performance, also I need to hold form in the middle of trying to do performance. And so this is the reason why most individuals have a lot of negative results from exercise. You don't need to be a genius to get really fit. But around and beyond the age of 50, you kind of do to be fixing your body while you're getting fit. So anybody can go out and move more, and they're going to get great physiological benefit. They're going to get a lot of positive benefits. But my job is to, like, how much can we shrink those negative effects from exercise while maximizing the positive effects?
Exactly. So you think that if I go through a few preparation stages, I can actually start lifting? For example, I have got weights that I can lift at home, hand weights, and also these with a, do you think that would be too much for me with this, like that?
Yeah, I would not use the barbell.
Lying on the back or something.
Yes. No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of things you need to learn before you get there. But yeah, like, we use bands. We use there's some really strong bands too, that like you would be too heavy, but we use bands. We use a series of exercise bands. And one thing that's really beneficial to learn strength training with bands is, for example, if I do a chest press with the band, and imagine the band is attached behind me. So first of all, like, if you just lay on a bench press with a bar, for example, if you know how to stabilize properly, you're going to get some good core involvement, but there's still a significant lack of core involvement. Our body is designed with pressing to be using the abdomen, because think back, like, all the ways the human body's been used in pushing. Usually it's off the floor or pushing a cart or pushing you use the core and abdomen also. So first of all, with the band being attached behind you, you're using the core, but also when you get to the end range, this is the most stressful position on the joint. When you get to the end range, the band is getting shorter, so it's decreasing the tension and it's saving the excessive pressure on the joint in the most strenuous position for you to optimize your mechanics. But yet in the strongest position, it's increasing resistance, so you still get a lot of muscle development. So that's why bands is like the most intelligent way to start strength training.
Yeah, I have got some bands at home. You mean this like they are elastic, right?
Yeah, continuous loop band. Yes.
Yeah, I have one of those.
And for the shoulder press, because a lot of individuals do this, so it's beneficial for everyone. A dumbbell is going to be better than a barbell for health reasons, because the barbell will get you most likely into a hyperextended lumbar position. Number one, if you're pushing it up overhead, doesn't have to be that way. You can control around it, but most are not going to. Secondly, this is a much more strenuous, and even if you have shoulder misalignments, damaging position for your shoulder than this.
Okay.
So with the dumbbell, you're not going to bend the bar, but so with the dumbbell, you can be here, right? That's a much safer position in the shoulder than this is. So
I don't have dumbbell, but I can use my hand weights in front of me then, rather than like this.
Yeah, correct. Yes, it's safer for your shoulder.
And actually doing this, you know, when you go down and what do you call it, like this to the floor, you know, that is hurting me, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah,
when you what do you call them when you this when you
push
have your weight push-ups,
push
of course, yeah.
Yeah. So
and that's about it. Is that injuring or that is too much?
Yeah. Push-ups is the number one home exercise that injures the upper body.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the funny thing, it was not actually funny at all. It's funny, interesting, okay, that what happens. Not funny like haha. So there's so many people, what do they think about when they start exercising at home? At push-ups, and it's one of the most damaging things for the shoulder. It's not because push-ups are damaging, it's because of their body alignment is not prepared to do a push-up. A push-up's a very healthy, wonderful exercise when done correctly, but most individuals, there's a lot of things that need to happen with the scapula and control and what your glenohumeral, the shoulder joint, is doing. There's a lot of specifics, and we do push-ups like in our VIP training system, but I build our VIP into, by the time they arrive, they're like becoming mechanics master of controlling their scapula and their arm and shoulder joint positions.
Okay, yeah. I've been following a woman on TV, you know, she has different kind of adjustments and things, but it is for people over 50, I think, it's meant to be. And she does it, she has push-ups.
Yeah, one
with
thing
the
is
hands under the shoulders, you know.
Yeah, one thing is just to do the exercise. Another is most people approach exercise in a way that they're focusing on the performance of the exercise. So you have to earn that. In my mind, you have to earn that. Most people don't have any business focusing on the performance of the exercise. What you need to focus on in the first 90% is the performance of your body. Who cares about the extras? The extras, it's about your body. So it's about, are you in the right frame? Are you in the right alignment? How are you connected with your body? All of those things. You could be doing it without a weight, right? Or a very, very light weight. That's what comes first, because it's all these things are neuromechanical. That's what turns the body on and makes it functional. But basically almost all fitness experts are showing like exercise, number one, to do the exercise, and two is to how to add even more performance. But when we add performance and you don't go through a thick filter first of optimization, you create performance on dysfunction. You actually re-ingrain dysfunction.
So I shouldn't do push-ups if it's hurting.
I would no, and I would recommend you do it with a band. I think you're going to get Yeah, until you learn how to optimize your mechanics, which on Friday is going to start helping you a lot. So make sure you don't miss Friday.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
let me know.
And the VIP, will I get videos when I'm VIP, if I'm VIP, or how is it?
You'll have red carpet.
But
Yeah.
she was talking about video, Tracy, and is that something? Who is getting video? How?
Oh, everyone's getting, so at 4 p.m. on each session day, you get the recording from the session, and then you
Okay.
get the exercise checklist for that day. It gets sent to your email.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually get the video how it's done.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes. Yeah. Great questions, Ellen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Lots of love to you. And hello, Javier. Welcome, sir.
How you doing, Robbie? Good to
Great.
see you again.
Awesome. And
Hey.
you?
I'm doing good. I just appreciate again, I want to tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing, and I did try to join the VIP, but it got canceled for some reason. I don't know if and like there's a mix up, I guess, in the emails. So I try to text Patricia again to try to see what was going on. So I'm not sure if I'm enrolled tomorrow or not. I did get an email saying that there is an appointment of some sort at 1 o'clock. So I'm just a little confused about that. But I got to rush to work. But I just wanted to thank you about that, about this whole program again. And
Yes.
And so yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I've lived with all the team for so long. We discussed that before, but so I'm kind of self-educating myself about the whole thing, which again, it starts up here. You can see my bands up here. So I do what I can. And anyway, I'm kind of late to work, but maybe I'll catch up with you in the next session.
Yes, and so in terms of the email, Patricia will see, Saturday was our last session, Sunday's our rest day, and then today we start very early. So we're in Pacific time zone, so session starts at 5. So Patricia will start looking at emails here in another half hour or so, and she'll get a response from her on that.
So are you guys in California or whereabouts are you guys?
Arizona.
Oh, okay. Not too far, same time zone.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, because I haven't gotten the email, I mean the actual videos yet either. So I was just kind of curious about that, but I'll check my emails. You guys
Right.
have a wonderful day. And thank you.
Thank you. You too. Make it a great day.
I will. Bye.
See you soon. And in about
Can I
8
just ask, Arizona, is that the PT time zone? PST?
Yes, it's Pacific. Yes.
Yeah,
that's-
okay, thank you.
Yeah. We're not in Pacific, but our time is the same exact time as Pacific. Arizona doesn't do daylight savings, so it's actually Mountain Standard, whereas everyone else in Mountain right now is Mountain Daylight. So we're the only state in the country that's actually Mountain Standard right now. Everyone else that's in Mountain is Mountain Daylight. So it's very confusing. We never talk about it. That's why we just say Pacific. So that, yeah, so it keeps it simple. So, yeah. And we are about to start in about 8 minutes. So if you joined us late or you weren't able to see the whole first airing of the second session of the full body fix, we will be starting again in about seven minutes now. And we will be starting again, going through the entire session, following with the Q&A. So stay tuned if you'd like to see the entire session. And Patricia, anything else that you would like to share before we, and we're not going to close the meeting, just so you know, we're going to close out our cameras and we're going to get prepared to restart here in 7 minutes. Patricia, anything you'd like to share? I see, you're there.
There you go. Okay, so what I would like to share is that today's session 2 out of 5 And we're going to have session 3 on Wednesday, session 4 on Friday, and session 5, our last session, the best session, is on Saturday. So I am looking forward to seeing you today, perhaps, or Wednesday. Oh, and one more thing, all the replays in the checklist are sent to your email at the end of each day's session. So usually around 4 p.m. Pacific, you will have the email. And if you're not receiving the email, 2 things are happening. One, it's going to your spam folder, so you can check there. And 2, you may unsubscribe from our list. This is a very common thing that happens also. So please check your spam. And if you do not receive, just message me and I will resend the email to you. My email is patricia@thefitnessdoctor.com. You are receiving emails from me all along, so you probably know what to do. Full Body Fixers, always a pleasure to have you here, and see you today or on Wednesday.
And Friday and Saturday.
And Friday and Saturday, yes, of course. Bye.
See you soon.